You know, I knew I was in pursuit of making a contribution. I'm not sure how I got that. That was my pursuit in life, but I knew I wanted to make a contribution. You know, was it the reading of Summerhill? Was it the attendance at the University of Chicago Lab School? Was it the experience of being at George Williams College, where the notion was you went into groups to make situations and community and organizations better? Somehow all that melded together. And I definitely knew I was on a path towards making a big contribution. It might have been the 60s too. You know, there was an awful lot of thought going around about communal contribution, making a difference in the world peace, all these, you know, light, airy, fairy things. But if you put it into practicality, to me, the ultimate place to do that was in school. You know, where could you have the greatest impact on people's lives? Not as if you were the great knower or doer or knew what should be done, but somehow helping them to realize that confidence the kids could have in themselves, that security that comes from, I'm capable. You know, I've got the tools. You know, I can go in front of a group and express myself with fervor. You know, I know about the world in terms of geography. I have some sense of how numbers work. I can express myself in written form. Wow, that's power. You know, and if there's anything I wanted to give kids was that power to express and participate. And, you know, sitting across from you and starting this forum of this weekend, I'm feeling good about the capacities exhibited. And, you know, maybe we did something pretty special.
Yeah. Terry's class was always full of kids who had something to share, and even the most quiet, timid person would surprise you with something that was they brought in for current events, or some presentation or part of the play that they were going to do. And his ability to bring out that creativity and build that confidence in people was a big part of the reason I think so many people left here with a feeling that they could be anything and they could do anything.
But the other thing I really learned from Terry was that to stand up for yourself. And I don't know that he ever said that, but he just exemplified that. You know, in every way that he taught, it was stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what you want. Take charge. Take action. Don't be passive. Don't just sit there and complain. Do something.
I just remember the level of respect and the way we were treated as individuals and allowed to be creative, and we were spoken to as peers, as I don't want to say mini adults, but that's the phrase that comes to mind right now. So we weren't treated like kids. We were shown a level of respect and given the wings and the ability to do what we wanted to do and become who we wanted to become. And I think it helped our self-confidence, and I know it helped mine, and you know, gave us the way to be you know, the best that we could possibly be while we were here, and hopefully carry that on. Yeah.
I worked with kids for about 10 years, and I had a lot of cause to draw on. I worked with really at-risk kids from bad homes with all kinds of problems, and I had to draw on any resources I had in my life to be able to be effective. And one of the most effective ones was Terry Neisler, and the way that he treated us with respect and talked to us like we were people, you know, not just like we were children, which he also knew that we were, but he met us where we were, and he I don't want to say he demanded the best from us, but I want to say that he insisted that we live up to what we were capable of, and not just in terms of accomplishment, but in terms of personal qualities, in terms of integrity. And he used the word exceptional, not a lot, but he would make a point of calling something exceptional when it was, and it sort of plants a little bug in your brain about how nice it is to be the exception, to live up to your potential.
It's actually hard to put into words how profoundly my experience in Terry's class and at Sycamore affected the rest of my life. I've said this already to him, but I want to say it again. There was a way that Terry was, I think, with each one of us that was so deeply respectful, listening to us, trying to really get who each of us was, and encouraged us, challenged us, pushed us to do the best we could.
I think I always got answers. I mean, not to argue, but there's times it was tender and straight, and then there were other times it was just no bullshit and straight. And that was cool outside of the house to have that, because a lot of other places you're not getting that at all. And I said before, never had a smarter group of peers. College, not even close to this. Like where I felt like you could totally be yourself and you were part of a group, like atoms, just functioning. It was so cool. And the legacy of Sycamore is that you spend your childhood treated like an adult, and you enter a world that treats you like a child. Kind of strange. I mean, I kind of like that friction.
Say that again. Say that again.
Oh.
Say it again. What you just said.
Well, I mean, at home and here, everyone, I was never spoken down to, ever. And if I was like, who is this? Seriously. And, I just wasn't used to it. And then, you grow up and you kind of move into different circles where people are flexing on you, and you're like, no. Because, I'm grateful for that. What John and I, we were in the rock and roll band, but we wanted to have Terry as a teacher because he was hard. He was going to really give us some schooling. This is all like, oh, he's Captain Montessori or something, but we wanted him to test us, right? So then we had him for 5th grade, and we found out he was leaving. Crushing for us, because we were expecting to leave from his class to El Roble or whatever it was, right? So that sucked. Just to have that change come at that time, So he had to be succeeded by somebody, and it was Marshall Brewer, right? So John and I took him aside day one, right? And we're like, because he knew about you, and he knew the boots he was filling, right? So we talked to him about, where we'd gotten to so far, and he was really sweating. He wanted to be that guy. He wanted to come in and continue the legacy. And he also knew that he could, but he tried. And throughout the year, he would come to us and say, okay, what do we do here? What does Terry do in this situation?
It's pretty scary having Joaquin and John Daniels.
Work. It was fun to learn. And I was, once we came out of this little place and went to the regular place, El Roble High School and stuff, I still love to learn. And I think that really helped me throughout my entire educational career, all the way through my graduate school. And even to this day, I still am very hungry for learning new things. And I really think that that's one of the big gifts that I got from this place.
Yeah,
those don't exist anymore. And I owe all of that. I've produced 50 records. I've been on the road with some of the biggest recording artists in the world. I've written liner notes, and I've always, in certain cases, I'm always talking about this and with that mention and my creative spirit. Sometimes people say, Barry, where do you get this thinking process from? You just really can't. Like, I'm just my own person, and creating that individuality, and the school fostered that spirit. And like Tanini was saying, I came here, from LA, all black school, came out here, got to a fight the first day, Eric Ratnoff, had to break up a fight, and after that I didn't have any problems. But, since, after that, I just began to grow, and really, I just want to say thank you again for kind of creating that spirit and fostering that, that love also of the arts and being able to think out of the box.
You got it, man.
I do remember the respect that Terry gave each of us. And I tried to do that. I tried to be as good a teacher as he was. I don't think about it all the time, but there's so many parameters now. Like I think about, there were couches and we had meetings in the morning, and we did, like Evie was talking about the backgammon, and we did plays, and we did all these other things that were educational that wove into what we were doing. We talked about this morning in our circle with Terry, and I can't do that, and it's very frustrating because I'm under a whip and chain, very much so. And one thing I got out of yesterday talking to Mr. Bobo was, he said we ran the school like a private school, and my best years teaching were my private school years teaching. I taught in private school for 3 years, and it was most like Sycamore was. And I was able to do things I imagined, and and the students were brilliant, and I could have these debates, and I did all these wonderful things, and I feel like my teaching career has gone, because I haven't been able to give them that, that freedom. So thinking about just the education and how wonderful it was more like a private school, and that's what made it beautiful. And here I am, I'm a public school teacher, so I am not putting down public school at all. It's just, there was a certain intimateness about it, and it didn't feel like you were a number.
So
I guess, yeah.
Something that you want to try and bring.
Yeah, and I do. And one moment I do remember that stands out is if you had a bad day, Terry would bring you aside and he would talk to you about it as a person, and then just like go for a walk, just go, do whatever you need to do. I remember, like, what? I could just go? Okay, I'll just go. So I went for a walk, and it's interesting. I try to do that now in my classes. If someone, I can see them getting upset and they're really upset, I bring them aside and I try to talk to them. I know that it's not what it is, what it seems. It's not because Joey just hit you. It's because now you're having a mental moment. Why don't you go to the bathroom? Because I can't say to kids anymore, just go take a walk around the block. No big deal. And so I do those little things that meant a lot. Yeah. Just, it's a respect of that person and their emotions at that time.
He definitely is in my mind as a model for parenting, which is that how he spoke to the kids in the class, the effectiveness of his words. And I don't remember him raising his voice very often. He did occasionally, but mostly he was able to speak softly, kindly, and firmly, and with such precision that he got the results that obviously made a huge impact on people's lives. And I often think, I have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I often think when there's a moment of, I would really like to change or affect behavior, how can I do that? I do think of models like Terry for how can you deliver a message creatively, calmly, and effectively. And Terry's definitely a role model in that.